Okay, so I'm going to talk today to this subject of nanotechnology for chemical and biological defense, largely using that as the very specific model that I'm thinking of, then further applying with respect to larger national security and international security issues. So I'd like to start with this quote, now almost 15 years old, from one of the former vice chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff. And he made this assertion, again, almost 15 years ago, that military applications of, let's substitute nanotechnology for molecular manufacturing, nanotechnology have even greater potential than nuclear weapons to radically change the balance of power. You know, within this quote, he's setting up a challenge to one of the fundamental tenets of international relations, this idea of balance of power. Who has it? Where does it come from? So as part of the work that I'm doing, I'm interested in exploring a couple things. First of all, I'm interested in building frameworks, building model sets to be able to assess the potential threats from nanotechnology. Very robust scientific threats that have the potential for proliferation concern. And then secondly, using these model sets, I'm interested in assessing nanotechnology against many of the traditional international relations theories. And the aim is for development of a long-term theoretical framework to describe how emerging technologies, not just nanotechnology, but also biotechnology, synthetic genomics, metamaterials, cognitive sciences, the neurosciences, impact the security realm. So some of the security puzzles that are out there. First of all, one has to ask, and I think that sometimes this does not get asked, is there some specific or unique strategic value to nanotechnology? So first we have the hope and the horror hype. And there's hope and horror on both sides. There are groups and individuals who paint very dystopian futures from nanotechnology, and there are groups and individuals who construct very much utopian. So figuring out which one has technical validity. Rhetoric, tremendous value of rhetoric, or tremendous amount of rhetoric associated with nanotechnology, particularly interesting from my perspective internationally with respect to some asserted equivalency to nuclear technology. Observed this both with Russia as well as with Iran. Back in early 2003, 2004, I first noticed one of the Iranian majlis, and they're equivalent to the congressional representatives, making a very a strong assertion that the United States does not want Iran to acquire nuclear technology and nanotechnology. Now, other than the fact that they both begin with N, we have nuclear technology, clearly a developed technology with potential security implications. Nanotechnology. Now, the first time I observed that, I sort of put it in the artifact file. After I saw it, half dozen, getting towards a dozen times similar things, I said, hold on, something's going on here. Just because something has a sciencey sounding name does not make it a technology at risk for terrorist appropriation. And frankly, if Al-Qaeda went after BECs, I think that'd be fabulous, because you just follow the energy drain. You have to have liquid hydrogen, you have laser tables. So there's this, pseudo-technical assessments that have to be dealt with because it comes out sounding very authoritative, particularly in the policy realm. In conclusion, within the U.S., domestically and internationally as well, there's a strategic vision is lacking. We're currently attempting to limit the threat of biotechnology in the age of terrorism. It's a Fink report. Serious threat anticipation with respect to nanotechnology should be initiated now. It is important that one balance the hope and the hype scenarios. It is important that there be both a fundamental technical basis, things have to be credible, and that there also be involvement of individuals who understand the innovation, who understand the institutional aspect. We need to foster revolutionary technology domestically. I can speak much more to this, the change in risk tolerance that has evolved over the last 20 years. One recommendation I have is to foster proactive international scientific cooperation. I call this a nano-cooperative threat reduction. Being at the Sam Nunn School of International Affairs, we think about cooperative threat reduction a fair bit. So how can we reimagine CTR for the 21st century, in which Russian and U.S. scientists work together, and Russia funds some of it too, with Pakistani and Iranian scientists?